Hey yo, and what is up, gang? Thank you once again for joining us here on the channel today. Let's wrap this thing up. Episode number 8, the final 4 of the Mae Young Classic, and we are here to talk about it right here and right now on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Let's do it.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
All right, wrestling fans, thank you so much once again for joining us here on the channel today. My name is Nick Nightmare. This, with me as always, is my boy Blueski, the World Heavyweight Champion of Microphones, and we are here to finish off this Mae Young Classic. Thank God that I have finally finished this thing. I do not like having to be forced to watch all these episodes all at once. I don't mind binge watching anything. In fact, if I were not a reviewer here on YouTube, I would have totally probably burned through this whole thing from start to finish and been done with it in one night. It's only 8 hours. You know what I mean? 4 hours, rather. I'm sorry. Why? Why break it up and then put it all at once? Why not just show it as a 2-hour special, 3-hour special in 2 parts like you did with the UK stuff? I would have much rather preferred that. It would have been easier on all of us here that do what we do for you guys and bring you our opinions and reviews of the show. And before we really end up going off on that, let's get this review started as I knock Ted down again. I might have to rearrange my shit over here and maybe get it away from me. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to leave Ted because I'm just going to fucking knock him down again. And we are now going to knock down this 8th and final episode, thank God, of the Mae Young Classic. So let's go to the screen and let's get this shit underway because I simply hated this first matchup. And I fucking called it. I called it in the last episode. When this match was set, I told you guys this was going to be a fucking snoozer. This was going to be something that wasn't even worthy of being in this tournament, even in the preliminary rounds. This match was awful. Fucking awful. I had not been so bored throughout the entirety of this tournament. In fact, the train wreck match between Lacey Evans and Taynara Conti was at least entertaining in the fact that it was so bad that it was funny to watch with all the fucking hair flipping and the botched spots. This was just a fucking boring ass match. I was struggling to even be interested at all. I tried my best to be objective and to not let my personal feelings about neither one of these competitors being in the semifinals infect this match. But they did nothing to prove me wrong. They did absolutely nothing in this match. It was nothing more than a collection of very lazy looking strikes and submissions and suplexes. All the same shit that we have seen from both of these girls in the first 2 or 3 rounds. And the backstory. Shayna Baszler was trained by Mercedes Martinez. That's as good as Kavita Devi being trained by the great fucking Khali. There was nothing here. I have no idea what the WWE sees over here. This makes no sense to me. It's all about the agenda. That's what this is. You can't tell me this is anything more than we need to make the horsewomen look strong, so we need to at least have the one representative make it all the way. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. A surprise rear naked choke out of nowhere after Martinez had the majority of the match in control. She as bad as it was, she was the one maintaining the advantage throughout almost the entirety of the match. There was nothing else here. Baszler, out of nowhere, wraps her up with the fucking rear naked choke. Mercedes barely even tries to fight it, taps out, and now Shayna Baszler gets the roses from Triple H and Stephanie, and everybody's all fucking smiles, and the crowd is booing, and she's playing off to the crowd with her fucking flowers. Terrible. Absolutely fucking wasted. There was barely any charisma between the two of them. I felt no excitement. I felt like both of them didn't even want to be there. The way they were just throwing fucking punches, just almost like they didn't want to hurt each other. I didn't get it. I'm actually beginning to believe that they actually wrote the whole entire Mae Young Classic based off the fact that they truly believed they were going to nail Ronda Rousey. They were going to sign Ronda Rousey and had intentions on having that deal wrapped up before the Mae Young Classic was brought to life. That is what I believe. And they did not do so. They didn't entice her. They didn't offer her enough. Maybe her UFC contract is in the way and they couldn't get around that. So what did they do? They didn't change the story. They just inserted Ronda Rousey's friend into the Ronda Rousey position. And it doesn't work. Do any of you know who Shayna Baszler is, really? Have you really heard of her and seen her stuff before the Mae Young Classic was announced? Before she was announced as a competitor? That was the first time I ever even heard her name. Maybe that's my fault for not being so open-minded to look and find other things. But who has time for all that shit, really? I have way too much other wrestling to watch to be searching for more. It's ridiculous. So maybe that's my ignorance that I don't know who she is. And I apologize to you guys for that. But there's nothing here. Nothing. I can't stress that fact enough. Shayna Baszler is the Roman Reigns of the Mae Young Classic. This makes no sense. I don't understand it at all. And it's all to do whatever this idea that the WWE has. I'm fucking telling you guys. I'm telling you. Because otherwise, we should have got Abby Laith right here and Candice LeRae right here. If this tournament was truly about wrestling and who the best wrestler was in the female division in the whole entire fucking world, these two girls should not be on this screen. Let's move along. Shayna Baszler moves to the finals of this Mae Young Classic. When I think of what we could have had with the talent level that Abby Laith and Candice LeRae possess, and the way they would have wanted to prove that they are the best in a showcase such as this, it just infuriates me that I got something that was equal to a whole bottle of fucking NyQuil. Unfucking believable. In a vast, stark contrast to this match, that sleep-inducing slugfest, I shouldn't even call it a match, we had this beautiful, beautiful match. Kairi Sane versus Toni Storm. Let's get excited for a trip to the finals against Shayna Baszler. And boy, what a fucking difference from one match to the other. Two non-MMA influenced, trained professional wrestlers going at it in a drama-filled roller coaster ride of a match for that last spot in the finals. It made me feel like they wanted to be there. They really, really both wanted to be in the finals. Again, in the last episode, I told you guys this match should have been, and had the potential to be, just by the initial booking of it, the finals of this tournament. The two most impressive, most highly sought after, most highly touted talents that you brought in, and you're facing them off in the semis. to eliminate one of them and make the other one move on. Instead of having this be number one and this be number two, or vice versa. Instead, let's not go back to that. This match was fucking magical. Absolutely magical. Another one of those times where I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. Toni Storm is only 21 years old, man. She impressed me a lot with Piper Niven. She did not impress me very much leading up to these last two matches, but god damn did she save the best for last. I mean, I guess Kairi Sane could probably have a fucking match with a broom at this point, because everybody she's been in the ring with as well, she's just been fucking great. Absolutely impressive. Both of these girls, they understand how to wrestle, what wrestling is. The sky is the limit for both of these girls here. Kairi Sane is fucking insane, as not even crashing face first into the steel grating of the entrance ramp from the top rope would stop her from moving on to win this match. This girl took off from the top rope to hit a crossbody on Toni Storm, who was very far from the ring, and she made contact. She hit her. She actually had so much momentum that she went over her. She kind of overshot Toni Storm. No fault to Toni. She was in great position. But Kairi was just too strong on her leap, and the upper half of her body was just too exposed, and her face smashed the fucking ramp. You seen it, and then you seen the after effects of it with the bruising and the swelling and the cuts on her face, and she looked almost like she was out of it, but the ref didn't throw up any hand signals that I was familiar with. Kairi Sane got back into the ring. This match would continue to be just as dramatic and crazy as it was the whole time, but nothing again would stop Kairi Sane from dropping that devastating pirate elbow right into the face of Toni Storm for the 1, 2, 3, as we have Kairi Sane set to face Shayna Baszler in the finals of the Mae Young Classic. This has been a very emotional trip with this show. It's been fucking crazy because on the one hand, I'm getting what I expected. I mean, there have been great matches. Not so much in the first round. There were a few good matches in the first round, but nothing that was really out of this world or that everybody needs to go back and see. This was fucking crazy. You know, we were getting nuts with the Cruiserweight Classic, and even in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, we were going crazy with some of these matches. Some of those matchups were just off the charts, man. All of these matches in the semifinals leading up to this round were okay, except anything involving this one. And that's not my personal prejudice. It's just a fucking fact. And if you can't accept that fact, then you're blind to what wrestling really is all about. I don't want to watch the UFC women's division. I don't want to watch MMA fucking style wrestling. You know who one of my most hated wrestlers was back in the 90s? Ken fucking Shamrock. Guys like that. Guys like Dan Severn. The only reason Brock Lesnar gets a pass is because Brock Lesnar started as a pro wrestler and then transitioned to the UFC world and kicked their ass legit and then decided to come back. That's why Brock Lesnar's special. That's why he gets a pass. Otherwise, if he was just Brock Lesnar from the UFC, never made his name in the WWE ever, and then came in and did everything that they did, you'd be hearing the same thing. So it's not about who it is. It's about what they represent and what they bring to my sport. This is not what we want to see. Sure, there is a place for that legit athlete, you know, for that MMA style fighter. There's a place for it on a wrestling roster. It's something that's unique and that should be packaged as such. But when you have 4 different women in a tournament of 32 using the same gimmick, and all of the rest of the other ones are completely unique and stand out from each other, there's a problem with that for me. And the only reasoning you can see behind it is when you look at it from the outside looking in and open the box and see what the future holds for everybody in this tournament. And the clearest picture you get is something that we already know is going to happen. The 4 horsewomen face off. So the WWE feels the need to make Shayna Baszler look like a threat. JR's been saying it constantly. Who can stop Shayna Baszler? Apparently, long matches can stop Shayna Baszler. Because you get about 3 or 4 minutes in, she's already breathing heavy. She already looks exhausted. She looks like she can't pull off her moves and she's frustrated. And it's just fucking ridiculous that they see what she does in the ring and go, yeah, you know what? She can go to the finals. Yeah, you know what? She's probably going to fucking win this whole thing. She's got the heat. They got a plan. They want to make this horsewoman thing big. Shayna Baszler's going to win this thing. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that at all. Kairi Sane deserves to win this. And then she deserves to go to NXT. And she deserves to be the NXT Women's Champion. Give her a nice long reign. All meanwhile, on the main roster, you have Asuka, when she comes back from her injury, establish herself in the same way. Remain undefeated the whole year long on Monday Night Raw. Take that title and do something with it. And then you build up the coming of Kairi Sane, NXT Women's Champion, the only one maybe to come close to Asuka's record. And you have an epic fucking confrontation of Asuka versus Kairi Sane. NXT Champion versus WWE Champion. In which case you have Asuka beat her, because you can't have the NXT Champion beating the World Heavyweight Women. I'm sorry, World Women's Champion, not Heavyweight. I'm sorry, ladies. And then you continue on from there. She goes back down to NXT. She drops the title. She comes back up and then becomes the first person to beat Asuka, solidifying her as the superstar that she is. You have 2 bona fide Japanese superstars in the women's division. You can then split them up. You could put one on SmackDown, one on Raw. If we're still doing that by the time we get down this road, the future is very bright for Kairi Sane. Toni Storm needs to be signed as well. She is fucking quality talent. And we don't need quantity in this case. You had 32 women in this tournament. You don't need to sign 16. You don't need to sign 20 of them. You need to take a look at the roster and sign about 8 of them. 8 of these girls need to be part of this company. You could take 6 of them, throw them in NXT, and then maybe take 2 and throw them right up on the main roster. As much as I'd love to see Toni Storm down in NXT, she could definitely fit right onto SmackDown Live. Right into that women's division. Shake that whole division right to the ground. And on the opposite side, you could have somebody like Piper Niven. Maybe. Forego her stay at NXT. You know, give her the proper training. Get her right up there. She's used to competing all over the world. She's been in main events everywhere. She's not going to be afraid to wrestle on the big shows. You know what I mean? And you have the possibilities of Piper Niven versus anybody on either show just makes me salivate at the mouth, because she's fucking fantastic and would bring a good match probably even out of Alicia Fox. That's how damn good she is. And her psychology is that good. I can't wait to see what the future holds. But I'm not really looking forward to this finals. You know, to me, it's a foregone conclusion that Shayna Baszler is going to win this thing. I mean, I won't be surprised if Kairi Sane wins. She was the biggest get for the WWE in this whole tournament. She's the one they were looking for the most. So, and they got her. And now she's here. And they probably don't want to make the same mistakes they made with the Cruiserweight Classic and let a lot of those guys get away. Kota Ibushi refusing to sign just as they were reaching the finals. You know, maybe they locked in Kairi Sane before this thing even began so that they know she can win it and we can run with her. And that's what I'm hoping happens, because I don't want to see Shayna Baszler win it. I don't care where we're going with it. That storyline with the 4 horsewomen, as I've said over and over throughout these reviews of this show, do not need to be featured during this tournament. What they needed was to do this on Raw. Have the horsewomen in the crowd. Maybe tell the world you signed fucking Shayna Baszler. And during her first match on Raw, the horsewomen are out there. Maybe she has her first match versus Sasha Banks. And then you have Charlotte and Becky and Bayley at ringside. And then you do everything you did at the Mae Young Classic. And it would take no focus away from the girls that are busting their ass on this tournament so that you can get over a storyline. It angers me. Obviously, you could tell. It is the one biggest problem that I've seen in this whole thing. I don't care how legit you think those girls are. The MMA girls, yes, had their place. Where their place is here and gone. They should have all been removed from competition by the time we hit the semifinals. If you wanted to let one go to the semifinals, like Baszler, she should have lost to a true wrestling talent like a Candice LeRae or even an Abby Laith, who has done nothing in this tournament but beat bigger, stronger, more dominant characters than she is, and would be absolutely believable for her to go over on this UFC monster. Because Abby Laith don't give up. That's part of her thing. It would have worked 1,000,001 times better. But that's not what we're getting. And I can't keep complaining about it. The more I talk about it, the more upset I get. Because I just don't understand their mind frame anymore. I don't understand why they would take such a great idea to get over and establish new talent, and it's pretty much like a scouting session, you know, and it's for us as well to scout these girls and see some of these faces we've never seen before. And instead of seeing true competition and really, you know, going through the field of competitors that you have and go, you know what, this is the girl, and this one needs to be pushed, and this one needs to be signed, and blah blah blah. You're going, all right, we have this tournament happening, but we got this idea over here, and we're going to use this tournament to make this idea even better. Because everybody's going to watch the Mae Young Classic. That's the fucking dumbest thing I've ever heard, ever. That's why, like I said earlier, I'm convinced that the Mae Young Classic was a television show written for the debut of Ronda Rousey. It didn't go their way. And now we get this. I could be wrong. It wouldn't be the first time. But do you see any other proof otherwise? What other reason could there be for her making it all the way to the finals? You seen what I seen. Don't tell me she's a great wrestler. Don't fucking tell me that. She's not a great wrestler. Sure, she's a great fighter. She's a fucking tremendous athlete. Her body is sick. I'm sure she really puts work in the gym, and she does her job very well. And her job is fighting. And this is not fighting. This is wrestling. I'm done with it. That's it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for this review of episode number 8. Don't forget, we got the finals coming up live just 5 days away on September the 12th, live from Las Vegas. I'm going to be watching it. You better be watching it, and then join me back here on the channel because I'm going to be talking about it. And in case you couldn't tell, up until this point, if Shayna Baszler wins, I'm not going to be a happy guy. So you might want to tune in to see that. And you know what? Even though she loses, I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy about her being part of it at all. We've established that. But we're over it. This was a good one. Thank you so much for being here with me again today. Don't forget to check out everything else on the channel. If you want to see everything I've had to say up until this point, the Mae Young Classic coverage is going to be linked at the end of this video in the annotations on the side. Don't forget to check it all out. My story about The Undertaker possibly coming back and the story that I would tell if I were put in charge of that angle. I got Raw and SmackDown's reviews this week, and even though they were pretty shitty, you know, check out what I had to say because I always got something to say, or else I wouldn't be here talking to you guys. And I am Nick Nightmare. This is Blue the Snowball Microphone. He's urging you guys to not forget to smash that thumbs up, share this video with your friends, Subscribe if you are not part of the Sledgehammer Club. And don't forget to check out Clutch Chairs down in the link below. That is going to do it. And I am out of here. And we will see you next time right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Have a good one, guys.